Hold on, let's pause right here because everyone knows how the Titanic sank. Iceberg hits unsinkable ship. Tragedy follows. Clean story, bad luck. Except that's not what happened. The iceberg wasn't the problem. It was just the moment when every bad decision finally caught up. First, unsinkable was marketing, not engineering. The ship's builders never officially claimed it couldn't sink. They said the design made it virtually unsinkable, which sounds confident but leaves room for disaster. The ship had 16 watertight compartments that could theoretically keep it afloat, even if several were breached. But here's what nobody advertises. Those compartments weren't sealed at the top. They had walls, but no ceilings. Water could spill from one compartment to the next like liquid in a tilted ice cube tray. The ship could survive 4 compartments flooding. The iceberg gash opened 6. At that point, it wasn't a question of if the ship would sink, but when. And the answer was less than 3 hours. The Titanic received 6 iceberg warnings that day. 6. Actual coordinates, actual danger. Captain Smith kept full speed anyway. Why? Because slowing down wasn't part of the plan. This was the maiden voyage of the world's most luxurious liner. Prestige mattered. Arriving on schedule mattered. Proving superiority over rival ships mattered. The competition between shipping companies was fierce, and speed was everything. The North Atlantic was unusually calm that night, which made things worse. No waves breaking against ice meant icebergs stayed dark, invisible until too late. And here's a detail that haunts historians. The lookouts in the crow's nest didn't have binoculars. They were locked in a cabinet, and the officer with the key had been reassigned before departure. Nobody thought to break the lock. The lifeboat situation is even worse. Titanic carried lifeboats for 1,200 people. There were over 2,200 on board. This wasn't an oversight. Regulations were based on tonnage, not passenger capacity. The law required 16 lifeboats. Titanic had 20, exceeding requirements written decades earlier for smaller ships. The White Star Line could have added more, but more lifeboats cluttered the deck. It looked bad. So they chose aesthetics over safety. Even the crew wasn't properly trained. Lifeboats left half empty. First class had clear access. Third class faced locked gates. Survival followed wealth. The most unsettling part isn't the iceberg. It's realizing almost everything was preventable. Warnings ignored because confidence felt safer than caution. Lifeboats insufficient because regulations lagged behind ambition. Speed maintained because reputation mattered more than risk. The Titanic didn't sink because of bad luck. It sank because humans convinced themselves nothing could go wrong, right up until it did. So the real question isn't what sank the Titanic. It's what are we still ignoring today? Because it's easier to believe we've thought of everything.